Sonic fans, it's that time of year. It's cold and snowy outside, and we're yet again hungry for more stuff from the Sonic because that is all we care about. What on earth is the Genshin Impact? 2023 for Sonic had a decent amount of content planned for it, ranging from the Sonic Frontiers updates to Origins Plus to even stuff we were yet to know about at the time. And in the end, 2023 turned out to be yet another good year for Sonic. However, we're now in 2024, and we don't really have much in store for us. Now, that's not to say we have nothing at all coming soon for us. On the contrary, we have stuff coming soon like the Knuckles TV show that's still totally happening, and of course, Sonic Movie 3 coming this December the 20th. And that's all we know for right now. Other than the potential Superstars DLC and possible Dream Team DLC as well, 2024 has some good stuff in the books for us right now. But while this content is good and all, it's time we really start to talk about the future. And what I mean about the future is the next 3D mainline Sonic game being the game after Sonic Frontiers. Pretty much that game being Sonic Adventure 3 or whatever it will be. The next big game from Sonic Team has a lot of weight on its shoulders, and this is going to be set to a brand new standard, mainly from what was delivered from Frontiers. As well as we saw in 2023, Sega was hiring for Sonic games, as well as giving Sonic Team a higher budget for Sonic games. So when we say the next Sonic game has a new bar, there really is a new bar to pass now, and Sonic Team need to live up to it. And while we got some time till that next game releases, and with Sonic Team now having a higher budget for the first time since Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Team can likely implement new things into the next 3D Sonic game. And we as fans are really curious of what's to come soon with this next game. But there are things that need to be addressed soon in the next Sonic game. Things that should be in the previous Sonic games throughout the past decade, but have been massively absent. And now, with this new era of Sonic we're in, these are things that need to be brought back, as well as need to return in this that should have been there already. So in today's video, I want to give some things of which the next 3D mainline Sonic game needs in it. Please note, what I give today is entirely just what I think is necessary for the next 3D Sonic game. If your opinion is different from mine, then that's perfectly fine. You might be wrong, but still. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into 6 things the next mainline Sonic game absolutely needs. Okay, so let's get this one out of the way. This one is kind of an obvious one, and that is, please, for the love of all that is this character, have the next game please have CG cutscenes. CG cutscenes in video games were always such an amazing thing. When you're playing through a game, especially back in the 2000s, whenever you're at the climax of the game, or it's the opening cutscene to a game, it was always such a special experience. And why was that? Because the cutscene would be in CG. CG cutscenes back then really looked nice because companies really wanted this cutscene to stand out from the others. Point is, CG cutscenes in video games are fantastic, and whenever you get to one, they are amazing. And Sonic games are no exception as well to CG cutscenes, especially in the 2000s. In fact, some of the most iconic Sonic cutscenes are indeed the CG ones. Just to name a few, there's the Sonic and the Black Knight opening cutscene, and the cutscene where the group is escaping the castle with the epic banger of a song in the background. Another great example is Sonic 06 CG cutscenes. While the in-game asset cutscenes are their own magic, whenever you get to a CG cutscene, oh man, this is beautiful. This came out in 2006! And of course, we cannot talk about Sonic CG cutscenes without mentioning Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed CG cutscenes are probably one of the best of the entire franchise. I mean, this opening, no words can describe how good this is. The point is, Sonic CG cutscenes are fantastic, and whenever one starts playing in a game, you know you are indeed in for something amazing. Now, let's take a look at the CG cutscenes from the past few years. Where are they at? So the last Sonic game to have a CG cutscene was, get ready for this ladies and gentlemen, Sonic Lost World. Ever notice how we say it's been a while since we had something? It always gets back to Lost World. We just can't escape you! So where have Sonic CG cutscenes been after Sonic Lost World? Well, especially after Sonic Lost World, the Sonic CG cutscenes would only be made for the ads for the games. The games that would follow this trend would be Sonic Forces, Sonic Generations as well, and now Sonic Frontiers. This is something that's gone on for too long. I get that most companies make CG cutscenes for ads, but Sonic needs these CG cutscenes again. Imagine this, the opening cutscene from Sonic Frontiers in full CG. Or heck, the Titan Showdown cutscenes or something. And the real sad thing is the fact that the trailers gave us an idea of what they could have looked like in CG. Like the announcement trailer where Sonic runs up to Giganto in the trailer. This could have been in the game before we fought him. Imagine how cool this would have been. But we don't get any CG cutscenes in the games at all whatsoever anymore. And all the CG is wasted on the advertisement for the game. While yes, most companies, especially Sega, have used CG to promote games in the past, however, most of the CG they showed would have ended up being in the game in some way, shape, or form, like Sonic Unleashed. The only CG that was not used in the game in that trailer was literally the beginning where Sonic is tossing a ring. But every other CG you see was, that opening cutscene. And Sonic 06, for example, as well. Throughout the trailer, you see a lot of CG, and most of the CG in that trailer was in the game. Except there is some pieces of CG that did not make it or just got changed, even though most of it did end up in the final game. And some was likely cut because we all know how Sonic 06 turned out. And even Sonic Colors had CG used in the trailers, but guess what? Sonic Colors still had CG cutscenes. Ever since Sonic Generations, Sega has decided to ditch all CG cutscenes and only exclusively use them for the ads. And Sonic Lost World would be the last Sonic game to have a CG cutscene. And ever since then, Sonic Forces and Sonic Frontiers, those games would suffer massively with CG cutscenes being in the trailers, but nowhere found in the game and would just be only used for the advertisements. So please, Sega, instead of making just these for the ads, let Marza make more cutscenes for, I don't know, the games and not the advertisements. If we got them again, whether it be only in the opening or final showdown, we fans will be happy with that alone. Just to bring them back for the epic moments just like the 2000s. And don't do stuff like this where you show what looks like it's going to be a cutscene in the game, but instead we get the in-game assets of the cutscenes, which look kind of worse in comparison. But be honest with me, which do you prefer of this cutscene where Sonic finds Amy?
Amy? Is that you?
Hello? Is someone there? Help me!
Hang on. Maybe messing with the ruins will fix things. Amy? Is that you?
You tell me, which is better? Another obvious one that we're going to go ahead and get out of the way right now, and I cannot absolutely stress this enough, and that is no more nostalgia. It's sad that I'm going to be saying this, but Sega's still not going to listen to me. I don't know how many times we've said this now, but I'm going to say this loud and clear one last time. Sonic Team, enough of the nostalgia, please. We have said this since Forces, and we said this during Frontiers' hype train, and now we're saying it yet again. Ever since Generations, we've seen the return of Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and now Sky Sanctuary over and over and over and over. Why am I still a Sonic fan? The nostalgia pandering in Sonic games got old after Generations. In Generations, it was fine because anniversary game, but Forces, Lost World, and Frontiers, no excuse whatsoever. So now in this next 3D Sonic game, please give us something new and no nostalgia, please. No Green Hill, no Chemical Plant, and no Sky Sanctuary. None of them. They have absolutely no reason to be brought back whatsoever. Don't do it. And if you want to have something related to the old games, fine. That's fine. Give us something from the other games. Just don't give us these 3 stages again. If you want to pander nostalgia, do something from Sonic Adventure or Adventure 2. Something along those lines. Just quit giving us the classic stages. We're tired of seeing them. And no, don't use this complaining I'm doing as an excuse to go back to the Starfall Islands in the next game. Don't do that. Next game, give us something good and original and fun with no nostalgia pandering whatsoever by bringing back these old stages. Now, I didn't mind the callbacks in Frontiers. Those felt natural. The stages, however, those have got to go. You can keep the callbacks in the next game if you want, but get rid of these old stages, please. And as it stands, it looks like our wishes have been granted finally, because when Kishimoto was running around online, he responded to a fan saying that they'll try to move away from the reuse of past levels in future games. And well, Good. Now the question is, Mr. Morio Kishimoto, can you live up to your word? Please do. No more nostalgia in Sonic games. I want to have a fully original 3D Sonic game for the next title to make it truly stand out and be remembered as the first Sonic game that didn't have Green Hill. Also, no, Superstars doesn't count. It's literally just a reskin. Next! So the next topic I want to bring to the table is maybe going to be a little controversial, but I still think it is necessary to bring up. And that is, I do not want to see a prologue for this next game.
Now wait a minute, what do you mean everybody agrees on this? Oh, they do? Well, looks like we gotta start from scratch.
So when it comes to these prologue animations, it's not that they're bad or anything, on the contrary, I love them, but it's what they do with them is what I'm not a fan of. You see, I don't mind them posting them to YouTube, but the problem is that these would fit perfectly as an opening to the game perhaps? Imagine this, what if there were playable characters in Sonic Frontiers since day one, and instead of the prologue animation, what if we got that as either a cutscene at the beginning of the game alongside the Eggman one, or even better, we could, play it? Or this opening could have been in the game in some way as more plot to the story like I previously said. I get that we had the Eggman opening in Frontiers, but imagine if we had the Knuckles one play alongside it or something like that. Like it would have Knuckles and Eggman back to back almost. And even games like Superstars fell in this trap too. Like the animation they released before the game came out, that would have been cool if they have that in the game as the opening cutscene. Not that it would fix the story anyway. Superstar's story is already cluttered as it is. But the point I'm trying to make here is that for the next game, if they make a prologue animation, don't just put it on YouTube. Put it in the game in some way so it can really tie the plot together and make it not feel like we're missing something when we're playing through the story. And make it all feel like one big package and not make it to where we have to go out of our way to figure out what this one thing is in a prologue animation on YouTube. So next game, just allow that prologue to be in the game in some way if you're gonna make one. So the next thing we need to talk about is the fact that this game needs good animation. Animation in Sonic games has been a downward spiral as the games went on in the 2010s. Sonic Frontiers tried to step it up, but Sonic Team not having all the resources to be able to step it up was a massive issue. But now with the supposed increased budget Sonic Team got after the success with Frontiers, perhaps the animation can go up now, maybe just a little bit, having the animation be better for cutscenes and gameplay and overall just mini animations as a whole, just so nothing looks stiff and massively awkward to look at. Look, I'm not asking for animation like Disney quality or something, but when you have a mobile game surpass everything you've done for over a decade, this is just sad. Please, just try to give us better animation in the next game. I don't even know what else to say. Go to the next one, please. So when Sonic Frontiers released, a lot came from it. One of the many great things that came from it was the redefined gameplay. Gone are the days where we're just boosting to win through hallways. Now, we're open and free to run around and do what we want. And with Frontiers, this was the first time in a very long time Sonic the Hedgehog is fun to control. And not to mention the fact that now after the updates, we now have proper momentum and a good spin dash in a Sonic game again in 3D since SA2. Sonic Frontiers has truly shown that Sonic Team can make a good 3D controlling Sonic again. But there is one problem. It's kinda all over the place, this gameplay. In this game, we not only got Sonic who can control very nicely, he has the boost, a spin dash, drop dash, a very awesome combat system, and while it's not bad, this can't be the thing for the future. It's gonna get kind of confusing. And also, Sonic Frontier suffers from something that many people have pointed out, and that is too many actions and too little buttons. There's a lot of actions to do, but there's not enough buttons for all the actions. Hopefully, Sonic Team in the next 3D game can truly get the gameplay figured out for the future of what needs to stay and what needs to go. Sonic Frontiers was a good start. Now they can take this and expand upon it and make it even better. Now, in my opinion, keep the combat system. I love it. And I do think it can be expanded upon too. So the combat, I really would like to stay if it can. Now, I'm not really here to try and break down Sonic's entire moveset for the next game, but I will say this, I think it's time we get rid of the boost and allow the spin dash to be the main course of action and whatnot. While boosting in Frontiers is fun and all, but let's be honest, the second you got that spin dash and proper momentum, more fun was had with the game than what you ever had before. So for the next 3D mainline Sonic game, I really hope that Sonic Team can figure out the good in Sonic's gameplay in Frontiers and make it truly outstanding in the next 3D mainline game to make it more enjoyable for us fans. Alrighty, time for the number one need for today, and that is probably the most massive need for not just the next 3D mainline Sonic game, but for all future Sonic games as a whole, and that is more time and resources, aka a bigger budget. After the complete failure that was Sonic Boom, Sonic games became nothing but budget titles to where Sega was failing as a company at the time, and what this meant is that pretty much future Sonic games to follow would not have much of a big budget, nor enough time put into them at all anymore, hence the name budget titles, thus cutting a lot from the games and not having enough resources resources to make an epic experience like with previous games. And Sega, knowing a Sonic game will still sell regardless, they rush the teams into making Sonic games and get them out as fast as they can. Look at games like Sonic Forces. This is the definition of a budget title, among many other things wrong with it. And take a look at games like Sonic Colors Ultimate and Sonic Origins, for example, too. Those games are simple remaster re-releases, and Sega managed to mess it up and rush it out the door, and now look at the result of them. And unfortunately, the same even happened with Frontiers as well. But thankfully, throughout 2023, Sonic Team was given a chance to, what I still believe, add content that was meant to be in there since the beginning, but couldn't be implemented in time because Sega wanted this game out as fast as possible. Remember, Sega originally wanted Frontiers out in 2021. The mere thought of that still haunts me at night. And now Superstars even shows signs of being rushed as well. And it's not only the rushing out that causes Sonic games to suffer, it's the lack of resources Sonic Team gets. For years, they've had to deal with what they had, and Frontiers really drew the line at that. They gave it everything they could in the time they had, and the resources they had as well. And the thing is, it could have been better if Sega would give Sonic Team more resources and time to work with. So I'm gonna say it here, Sega, please, out of love for your fans, we all say this, please, for future Sonic games, give Sonic Team a bigger budget as well as give them enough time. If it takes a little bit to get to the next big 3D game, fine. That's fine. I just want it to be good, polished, and well done, and given enough time, and overall, making it fun and memorable for many years to come. It's like I said before, Sega, look at what happened when the head of Sonic Team fought for more time on the next mainline Sonic game. And when he asked for more time, they got one more year, and look what happened. You ended up with the best 3D Sonic game in years. So just imagine if you give Sonic Team the time, budget, resources, and people to work with on this next game, you, Sega, might just end up having one of the best Sonic games to ever come out, and might end up finally topping a game that came out in 2008. You got good writers, you have an ambitious team, you have the resources, and you know it's possible. It's all up to you, for you just to allow Sonic Team to work on this game as long as they need to, and not be rushed out the door. Just please give them the time and resources, Sega. Sonic Frontiers, when it released, was the next well-received 3D Sonic game in years, and Sonic games are in a good light again. This next 3D mainline Sonic game, of whatever it will be, whether it will be open zone or something Dream Team related with linear open levels, or heck, maybe just one big open world Sonic game, who knows what's in store. Regardless, this next game has a lot on its shoulders and has a lot to live up to, and hopefully, maybe, just maybe, Sonic Team can truly deliver on this game. After all, they managed to prove themselves well with Frontiers updates that they can still make good stuff for us. I mean, we got the spin dash back and playable characters back in one game. If that doesn't say enough, then I don't know what does. Now, when will this next game be released? It's hard telling, really. If I had to guess what this new era Sega is in, it's really hard to tell right now because Sega seems to be going all in for their franchises again. But I think it's already began work after Frontiers came out, and now all the team is working on it now that the updates are finished. So all we can do now is wait and see. So whatever this next 3D mainline Sonic game will be, hopefully, fingers crossed, it will truly be a fantastic experience and can really have Sonic be back on top maybe once again in the gaming industry. But until then, we'll all be here waiting for it to arrive. Wait a minute. What?